Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. Welcome to Muslim Network TV, Canada Today Youth Edition. This is your host, Brother Muhammad Maxwell Hassan, and today, we got a doozy for you. You know, mashallah, for a lot of Muslims out there, it's in their heart to give. They want to give their time, they want to donate. Mashallah, this deen teaches us to serve others, and part of service is humanitarian work. I hate to say it, but there's no shortage of this. It's all over the world. Our brothers and sisters, not only in faith but in humanity, they need this humanitarian work to get their lives on track. And so, we're going to be talking a lot about humanitarian causes. And with us here today, we got two particular individuals who really got a good taste of what it's like to do humanitarian work, who really sunk their teeth into it. But the cool thing is that these are Muslim youth. These are Muslim youth who really sunk their teeth into this whole world of humanitarian work. And maybe it's in it for you. Maybe it's something for you and you have clarity, you have some questions that you want answered. But here to provide some insight, we got two very, very special guests. We got Fatah Awil, mashallah, brother Fatah. He's a program coordinator with the Urban Alliance on Race Relations, where he manages and oversees the development of the Diversity Youth Fellowship Program at City Hall in the hopes of building the next civic leaders and decision makers. Also, he is currently completing graduate studies and is working part-time and volunteering in the nonprofit and charity space. But for the past 2 years, folks, Fatah has been the National Director for Charity Week Canada, the largest, and I mean the head honcho, the biggest, the baddest, the largest Muslim youth-led project in the world, where youth and institutions from around the world, around the globe, internationally, unite to provide funds for projects supporting orphans and needy children. And this year, the year of COVID, the unforgettable year, was a record breaking 1.4 million pounds, not dollars, folks, pounds, for orphans, children, and their families, all in the year of COVID. Jazakallah khairan, Brother Fatah, for stopping by. It's going to be fun to hear your insight about this particular topic. And with us here today, as well as our co-guest, we got Sister Nafesa Danayar. Sister Nafesa graduated from UFT in 2016 with an honors bachelor degree in biological sciences, majoring in neuroscience. So a lot of good stuff there. She was involved in nonprofit organizations over the past 5 years, and she worked as an administrative position in healthcare over the last few years. She has some goals that she wants to accomplish in life, which includes helping others to reach their full potential in order to spread fairness and make the world a better place. And don't we all want to make this world a better place? So Sister Nafesa, thank you so much again for stopping by as well. It's an honor to have you on the show and to hear your insight about this space. Now, one of the biggest things I like to do for all our guests and for the viewers as well, just to kind of get a sense of where our guests are coming from. It's all about stories. And so let's go ladies first, if I may. Sister Nafesa, how did you get involved with humanitarian work? What's your story in a nutshell, just so people can get to know what angle you're coming from?
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Good evening. It's an honor to be here. So my journey started back when I was in university. So I used to donate to Islamic Relief. I was not part of any clubs at school, not part of any MSAs or such. I did donate, and I donated to Islamic Relief. So they would send you an email. And one day I decided, why not just go on and see what Islamic Relief really is about? And I saw that they were looking for volunteers. So I thought, why not? Let's just sign up. I'm not part of any clubs or anything. Let this be my good deed. So I thought, okay, let me sign up, see what happens. Signed up, got accepted as a volunteer, and then I started volunteering for different special events for Islamic Relief that they held around Toronto and around the GTA. And back in 2018, Abdul Wase, who is the National Volunteer Coordinator of Islamic Relief Canada, told me to sign up for Charity Week Canada. He said that, it's youth-led, it's a project under Islamic Relief. He wanted me to sign up with it. I'm like, sure, I'll do it. Never did it. He called me, texted me. He's like, Nafisa, did you sign up yet? And he kept like pushing me to do it. So I'm like, okay, let me just sign up for Charity Week. I've never heard of it before. Um, 2018, I was recruited onto the Charity Week Canada team as the national events director. No idea what Charity Week was. I just, decided, okay, this is another nonprofit that I could be involved with. I never knew what a huge impact this would have on my life. 2018, 2019, 2020, I've been involved with Charity Week Canada, and this has opened so many doors for myself, not only through Charity Week, but Islamic Relief itself. There was a social event that I attended through Islamic Relief where I met this sister who's part of the Smile Canada team, which is another nonprofit organization. Getting to talk to her, I've never heard of Smile, but just that conversation that I had through that Islamic Relief event, I discovered what Smile Canada was, volunteered for 2 events for them as well. So it basically started off with me donating to Islamic Relief, and it just snowballed from there through my, my connections and my friends telling me to like do this and sign up for that, and that's how it happened, and I just continued.
Mashallah, there you go. And as you mentioned, Islamic Relief. So Islamic Relief is the overall organization, and Charity Week is a project underneath the umbrella of Islamic Relief, right? All right, good to know. And the fact that you just kept saying yes, I mean, why not? You just kept going, and wherever life took you, and here you are. So, Brother Fatah, I mean, walk us through, how does someone become the national director for Charity Week Canada? I'm sure you didn't wake up one day and you just had that epiphany. What was the story? What led you to where you are now?
Thank you so much, Brother Mohammed. It's an honor. It's a pleasure to be on the show alongside yourself and Nafisa. And it was nice. It's nice, being alongside, colleagues participating in shows like this, because I'm learning a lot about my own, team members in Nafisa and her story. And yes, definitely, I did not wake up one day and just have this desire to become the national director. Of course, there are many steps along the way that led up to this point. And one that I'd like to point out in particular is the passion of charity and the importance of charity within our faith, within Islam, that was instilled in me from a young age. You might all have this similar experience where you're sitting in the masjid during Jum'ah prayers, and your guardian, your parents, maybe it's a family member, kind of nudges you and gives you a $5 bill or a $10 bill and ask you to donate, this bill, as people are coming through the rows and collecting funds. And so, ever since a young age, my parents, especially my mother, just constantly reminding us, make sure you donate on behalf of your grandmother who passed away. May Allah have mercy on her soul. Make sure you donate on behalf of, the children, the orphans, whose images, we're too familiar with on our television shows or on our screens. The mothers, the Palestinian mothers, the Syrian mothers, the Somalian mothers, and children, orphans who are suffering. And so, ever since I was young, I just knew that it's important to donate funds. But as I got a little bit older in my teen years, I didn't necessarily have the funds to always donate. And so, but what I did have is another valuable resource that a lot of Muslim youth have, and that's time. It's time and it's energy. These are limited resources that we have, and we can donate these things, right? We can use them in the service of God, in the service of others. And so I had this passion now to give back through my time, and I wanted to volunteer with the various organizations, but I didn't know where to start. Here I am in high school, about to graduate, going into university. I just didn't know where to start. I was a shy kid, who didn't really, talk about these things openly with others or talk about this desire. But as soon as I entered university, I came in contact with other people who had this similar passion and wanted to give back. And alhamdulillah, through the Muslim Student Association, the MSAs, we're familiar with them, I was able to give back in a big way. And one of the projects that I was fortunate to be a part of was this initiative that helped to create care packages for homeless youth. And so I was able to volunteer and support local initiatives. But then I came in contact with these volunteers wearing these white T-shirts, carrying these blue buckets. And that was my first introduction to Charity Week, was actually at the University of Toronto Scarborough campus. And I got to hold the bucket for a few minutes. Some brothers pulled me in and said, hey, we're raising funds for this project called Charity Week. We're raising funds for orphans and youth children. Why don't you spare some time and help us out? And so I did. I think I put on a shirt. I don't remember exactly, but I remember holding a bucket. And I just remember the daunting task of this shy kid having to stop people and tell them about this little project that we have called Charity Week. That's, alhamdulillah, now it's an international project. And so for 5 years now, I've been a part of Charity Week, starting off with my institution at the University of Toronto Scarborough, and now being a part of the national team. And I just fell in love with it, right? You have friends from all across the world. You have 7 countries that are participating at the same time, and we're able to really provide funds and raise funds for sustainable projects. And we hopefully can continue to talk about that later on.
MashaAllah. One of the things I noticed about both of your stories that coincides that it all started with donations. You initially were donating, and then mashallah, like Brother Fatah, you were raised in that household of constantly giving, just constantly giving, and then so I guess there's more to things than just money. I mean, money makes the world go around. Yeah, it's true, but I mean, when it comes to your time, your youthfulness, your energy, your capacity, your passion, your drive, your direction, that sort of stuff that's priceless. I think that's immeasurable, and mashallah, that's amazing that 5 years strong, you go ahead and you worked up the ranks. You said from what a shy kid holding a bucket, and now mashallah, you are the bucket, in a way, like you're with national, you embody a lot of it, alhamdulillah. So we're gonna dive more actually, so let me stick with you, Brother Fatah, as we continue this conversation, to say that what are some, I mean, for 5 years, I'm sure you've seen more than one or two things. What are some general observations that you noticed? In particular, if we were to zoom in a bit, let's just say, what would you say are some observations you've noticed about how Muslim youth look at humanitarian work in general? I mean, you've probably seen people come and go. Some people saying, yeah, let's do this. Let's make this world a better place. Let's change everybody. Let's build a well and let's do all this. And then you try calling them, and my God, it's like it takes 2 to 3 business days to get a hold of them, or they just flat out disappear from the earth. I'm sure that's one side. Like, what are some general observations that you've noticed in your time that with how Muslim youth in particular look at this kind of line of work?
Yeah, so I think just a general observation to start. I think there is a large appetite from Muslim youth for this type of work, right? I feel like this type of work gives, especially Muslim youth, a sense of purpose. And we know as Muslims, we have a larger purpose, and that is to serve Allah, right? And to serve God and to worship God alone. And in doing that, there are many ways to serve God. And one of the ways that is often talked about is through charity, right? Through service, through humanitarian work. And we know that famous hadith where the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ says that the person who helps the orphan, right, will be like this, like this in Jannah with me, meaning that there'll be someone who's very close to me in Jannah, in paradise. And so there are many different drivers that motivate youth to want to give back, to humanitarian work. Some youth might see images like this girl on swinging, and might see images like that and see, like, look what a playground can do for these children, for these youth who are in these dire situations where they're barely getting an education, where they barely have a roof over their head, where they barely have water or food that will last them for the week or the month or even the day. And so these little things, and little things in our eyes, things that we take granted for, are things that are massive and things that are huge for these people. So someone might be inspired by that. Others might be inspired by the verses in the Quran, again, that talk about charity and the importance of giving back. But everywhere I look, I see that there is this desire to want to be a part of something that is bigger than ourselves. And another reason is legacy, and that is a reason for me as well. Wanting to leave a legacy behind, and wanting to take advantage of our youth, to take advantage of our time. The Prophet Muhammad said, there are to take advantage of 5 before 5. I'll quickly go through them, I might forget, but the exact ones. But take advantage of your time before you lose it, right? Take advantage of your youth before your old age. Take advantage of your wealth before you become poor. Take advantage of your life before your death. And the fifth one. And so a lot of that are things that you can take advantage of in your youth, right? And that is what I'm noticing, is that youth are wanting to give back at a young age, because we know the importance, and we know that there's a group of people that on the day of judgment will be saved, and that those are the youth who gave back during their young during their youth. And so those are just some of the observations that I've had, that I've been able to see. The biggest driver, of course, are at the end of the day the people that we're helping across the world, right? And to them, right, we have heroes growing up, right? We have heroes, whether it's our parents, whether it's our school teachers, but for them, for a lot of the brothers and sisters around the whole world that we're helping, we are essentially heroes to them. Why? Because we have these superpowers. What are they? They're education, right? We have the superpower of education that we can use to benefit others. We have the superpower of free time, superpower of health, right? These things, we don't see them as superpowers, but these are things that a lot of our brothers and sisters are lacking across the world. And if we're able to use them wisely, if we're able to pool our resources and our efforts together, we're able to achieve a lot. And alhamdulillah, we've been able to achieve a lot over the past 7 years or so, being able to raise tens of thousands of dollars, and also here in Canada, being able to unite schools across the country from coast to coast, from Nova Scotia to British Columbia. So it's just been beautiful to see, and maybe that's it. Maybe it's the connection, being able to connect with schools across the country. Maybe that's another motivating factor. But these are all different reasons, a wide range of reasons why people give back.
MashaAllah, brother Fatah. Look at that. All positivity brewing out, and saying that, a lot of Muslim youth are more than willing and happy. So there's no shortage of people who are wanting to make a difference. There's plenty of people out there still, mashallah. And even in this dark and gloomy world, you still have that beacon of light, and a number of youth are still willing to put forth their energy and time and effort for goodness. So that's wonderful and reassuring to hear. Sister Nafisa, let's take it to you. What are some observations that you found spending time in this humanitarian cause or in this world? What are some things that you've noticed, particularly with how Muslim youth look at this line of work?
So coming off of everything that Brother Fatah said, I've seen positive. It's all positive. All the brothers and sisters around the world that I've met and I've known through humanitarian work, there's just something so uplifting about when they talk to you. They go towards life. Anything that they look at, their everyday events, they somehow relate it back to Islam. They relate it back to the stories of the Prophet, and they try to pull positive out of it and show you that you can see like beauty in this life. They empathize with you. You might have a group of friends where, for example, you wanted to start a side hustle. For example, you have a group of friends that see the negative in it, and they say, "Oh, what if like you're wasting your time? What if you lose money in this?" But the group of friends that I've met through humanitarian work are the complete opposite. They say, "Oh, I'm going to pray for you. Inshallah, this will work out. What can I do to help you?" Instead of saying, "Oh, if something goes wrong, like all the negative stuff that would happen," they say, "If something goes wrong, what can I do to help?" And all of this comes off of the work that they do, and the work and them wanting to make a difference in the lives of others. There's this quote or hadith that I saw. It says, "A person is likely to follow the faith of his friends. So look who you befriend." And honestly, I believe in that, because the group of friends that I've made through Charity Week itself has made a huge difference. There are strangers across the world, in the US, in the UK, sisters that I've made friends with. I've never met them in real life, never seen them face to face, but somehow that first conversation that I've had through the phone or through text message, it's like this connection that we've had forever. And I don't it's as if our souls have known each other. I can go to the US, I can go to New York, for example, and visit these sisters for the first time, and it's as if we've known each other all our life. And this is something that I've noticed with youth that are part of humanitarian work is you're not afraid. You're not afraid to meet strangers. You're not afraid to do good in this life. You're all working towards a common goal, which is to help each other. It's to gain, to try to reach Jannah and help your friends and your families attain it with you. I've also seen the opposite, for example, and this is coming based off of personal experiences, where instead of being 100% in, I've have family or friends which are 100% out. They seem to put you on a pedestal, and they're like, oh, you're doing such great work. I can't be as good as you. I'm not a good person. They try to find all of these external factors so they don't get involved. For example, oh, I'm busy with work. I don't have money. But it's so much more than just, finding the time or finding the money to do this. It's also about, in a day and age where social media is such a huge part of our life, you can easily share a post, share a nonprofit and say, oh, this is, for example, this foundation is raising funds for orphans in Afghanistan, for example. Feel free to donate. You don't physically have to do something yourself or put in the time. It's just the click. So I've also seen like the two ends of it. I've also seen people that are 50-50, they're like, oh, I love the work that you're doing. I want to do it, but I can't. They just need that little bit of a push. So that's why we're here, to encourage each other to do good.
Look at that. So it's like you got that brotherhood and sisterhood, like a brother from another mother, or a sister. Like so you meet people. Just the fact that the thing that bonds you all is humanitarian work. When you are willing to roll up your sleeves, just jump right in and help out in every way. It doesn't matter if you've never met the person, but your hearts, I guess, are connected automatically. That's amazing. That's one observation. I'll still take it to you, Sister Nafisa. Now, unfortunately, with the regards to humanitarian work, we can talk about all the sunshine and rainbows and all the amazing things that are happening. Mashallah, Brother Fatah alluded to the fact that you know how much it means to children who've never experienced a swing set or a playground and how groundbreaking that is. That's amazing. Now let's just take a step back to have a balanced approach, two sides of the same coin. Let's say, for instance, we'll talk about maybe perhaps the negative perceptions that people may have. It's no secret that for a lot of humanitarian work, a lot of charity that proclaim goodness, proclaim a lot of wonderful things, that unfortunately they get caught up in scandals. They kind of pocket something, you know what I mean? So that's public knowledge, I think, for a lot of people out there. Now, are there any negative conceptions or maybe misconceptions out there that you would kindly like to address, Sister Nafisa, starting point? Then I'll take it to you, Brother Fatah. Some things that maybe you found where someone says, okay, well, maybe, for example, people might say, people are taking advantage, guilt tripping some people to kind of lure, like there's maybe that side, the cynicism and skepticism that may come with the connotation of humanitarian work. How would you address that?
I would say the number one thing people look at is trust and accountability with their money. They say, oh, I would donate this, but how do I know that where the money's going? How do I know that you're not taking the money? Before donating anywhere, obviously, you have to trust them, question them, ask them how much percent, if I donate $100, how much percent of that is coming out? They'll be honest with you. They have to be honest with you. Are they a registered charity? Can you track where the money's going? I can speak for Charity Week and Islamic Relief because I volunteer for them. And I can say that they have field offices, for example, in countries like Palestine, India, Yemen. In these countries, they have field offices, which means they have people on the ground. So the money that we donate in countries such as Canada or the US or the UK goes to these offices. And we have people there that trustworthy people that work for Islamic Relief that can show where the money's going to. So these are questions that you have to ask before donating. Obviously, can I trust where the money's going? How much percentage is going? I don't know exact numbers, but I do know Islamic Relief is one of the charities in the world that takes the least percentage, especially, for example, the orphan sponsorship program, one of the least percentages in the world. Obviously, you have these because of cost to like run things, but yeah, that's it. And then
So
another
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. No, so it sounds
Go ahead.
like trust is a big key here, right? Like that's the
Mhm.
big thing that you need to be. What was trust and accountability? Was it were the two things that to keep in mind for sure? So that maybe that lack of trust or that lack of accountability, that's what feeds into some negative negative perceptions about, let's say, humanitarian work. Brother Fatah, can you maybe allude to that a bit more, like just to say or expand on that a bit more, I should say, like when it comes to trust and when it comes to this, let's just say you want to give your, because I mean it's one thing to donate, but let's just say you're willing to take up a challenge of actually going into volunteering, putting in your time, putting in your effort, putting in everything. But again, how do you navigate through that? What if someone, like, let's say they go 2 steps forward, 3 steps back because, hey, I don't know about this. So what would be some things that you could shed some light on for this?
Absolutely. And Nafisa did a wonderful job, setting the stage, talking about the importance of accountability and doing your own research, right? Look into these organizations, look into these charities that you're donating to. What is their track record? Do they have financial reports? For example, with Charity Week, I know it's a small project. It's part of Islamic Relief. Every year we have an annual report that goes out, and it shows exactly where every single dollar goes. Where every single dollar came from, or pound, and some of the other currencies from other countries, and where is that money being? What is that money being used for? Right. And I know that with Islamic Relief in particular, they have a follow the dollar campaign where you're able to follow that particular dollar, and you're able to see, where is this money going to? What are the projects that are being funded? And and so transparency is key, right? In addition to accountability, transparency is key, being open. But as a donor, it's also incumbent, and it's our responsibility to kind of look into the chakras of these organizations. One misconception that I'd like to quickly point to is this misconception that if humanitarian aid were effective, that the problem will just go away, meaning poverty will go away, all these things will go away. But we know that humanitarian cause and humanitarian aid is just one solution, and it might even be a solution, right? I know with Charity Week we're trying to
Yeah,
create
Brother Fatah, you're
approaches
okay?
so that we don't have to. We're not just.
Sorry, sounds like you may,
Can you hear me?
Masha, Jazakallah khair, forgive me for cutting off. It sounds like maybe there might be some technical things here and there, but I hear what you're saying when it comes to that accountability and technical side of the fact of what you look at as a donor. That's amazing to notice and see, because when you got to do your homework essentially. I think that's what it is, instead of just going through that. But if I can kindly ask Sister Nafisa, um I know one thing that you mentioned earlier when it comes to that bond, that sisterhood, that brotherhood that's out there when it comes to humanitarian work. When it comes to humanitarian work in particular, does it take a special type of person to get in? What if someone, I think what you mentioned earlier, that some people might swing the pendulum the other way and saying that, oh, I can't do this work because I'm not righteous enough. You know what I mean? Like maybe there's that component to it. Do you see that as being a potential misconception or barrier, that I gotta achieve a certain level of decency in order to put my hat in the ring and roll up my sleeves? Is that something that's prevalent, or is that even a thing?
I do notice that that's a thing for some people, and I just want them to know that it's not true. It's within yourself. You have to truly look within yourself and realize that these negative thoughts are coming from, within you. It starts with baby steps. One person obviously cannot change the world alone, but how you can work on it is changing yourself first, or even changing a little part of you and trying to become a better person. And once you change into a positive person, positive attitude, your family and friends around you will see that, and it'll just snowball. And it'll just snowball from there. So I think that's just an excuse people try to use. It all starts with baby steps, just like like my personal journey. I did sign up to become a volunteer. I signed up for Charity Week, not knowing truly what I wanted. But after becoming a part of it, after saying yes, helping to fundraise money for the orphans around the world, I realized that after like making all these friends, I realized that I'm truly like doing this for myself, yes, because to attain like good deeds and try to become a better Muslim, but I'm also doing this for others as well, not expecting anything back. And that's the thing with humanitarian work. You may look at it and say, "Oh, I'm doing this. I donated this. You know, I asked somebody for money. Nobody like, do these orphans really know what I did for them?" But they do know, because when that money goes to them, if you feed them for a day, the 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 prayers that they make to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to it's so powerful when you help the oppressed, the thanks that they give, and when they ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless you and like help you in this world, in the next, that is more powerful than anything you can ask for in this world. So it just takes one baby step, just that first, getting it over your head that I need to overcome this negative thought, and it expands from there.
So, Masha, the intangibles is what's going on there, so that the reward is intangible. The prayers that you don't have to count every penny and say like, oh, look what I did, look what I like. At the end of the day, it's really defeating the purpose overall. I see, brother Fatah. If I can take it to you, man, like, do you see that? Do you see that prevalence, like where people say I have to be Mr. or Mrs. Self-righteous, and in order to be involved in humanitarian work? Is that something that you've come across in the Muslim youth?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Oh no. Oh boy. Okay. Well, okay, I'm sure. Yeah.
that
We'll
right?
simmer
It's
on.
this idea that we have.
Yeah. All right, brother Fatah. Don't worry. We'll figure it out. No worries. Not a problem. But we'll get that sorted out. But in the meantime, Sister Nafisa, if I may, as we're kind of winding down on this particular part of this conversation, if I can kindly ask, like, let's just say someone watching this right now is looking at it and saying, "Oh, I really want to get involved with humanitarian work. I need some resource. I need some guidance. I need someone to help me out here." So, Sister Nafisa, if I can ask you as a starting point, what are some resources out there for folks who really want to get involved with humanitarian work? What's helped you out particularly in humanitarian work?
Well, Islamic Relief made it easy. I mean, they did have YouTube advertisement and such. A good way to start off is if you're a student in college or university, your Muslim Student Association, join them, go up to them, ask them, when's your next event? Your local masjid that you go to, if you go there on the weekends or for Jummah, or even during Ramadan, if you go to the masjid, ask them, do you guys have any initiatives, any projects in the community that I can help with? There are some projects, if you just type in nonprofit within like the GTA, Toronto, or wherever you live, just to name a few, Nisa Homes, Nasiha is a really good one. It helps with it's a Muslim youth helpline for like mental health. That's something that a lot of youth don't know, especially like there are a lot of resources out there. A lot of youth don't know, especially Muslim youth, in a way to connect with our faith. So this is a good one as well. There's Smile Canada, Muslim Welfare Canada. Just like it just takes, like, Google it. It's really easy. Even just like I said, the masjid, your local MSA. I know, for example, my masjid as well. They do have like sports tournaments that you can join in, but it's not just about sports. About like soccer and basketball tournaments for brothers and sisters. They also raise funds. So it starts there. Charity starts at home as well.
All right, very good. So the number of different areas that you can look into. So Islamic relief, that's one side, but it's not just limited purely to some to humanitarian work per se. You can even reach out to your local MSAs, and I'm sure within the community there's one thing. So sorry, brother Fatah. I know we were kind of in the middle of a couple of answers here. Let's. I know right now we're talking about resources, but maybe do you want to go back for a quick second to talk about, let's say, that negative misconception where someone needs to be a certain level of righteousness in order to get involved in humanitarian work? What would you say to that?
All right, third time's the charm. So can you hear me? Am I good?
Yes, yeah, you're good. You're good.
That's great to hear. No, the benefit of this with technical issues is that I have a great colleague, great co-panelist in Nafisa who can just take it away and be happy.
Oh boy, spoke too soon.
We'll be happy with her response. In terms of
You're good. Okay,
Can you
try
hear
to
me?
go one more. Yes, okay. Let's go. We can get through this. We'll get through it. All right, go for it, brother Fatah. Can you try it? You're good. Oh man, he's frozen in time now. Alrighty. Well, I'm sure we can. Okay, let's continue on with Sister Nafisa for now. So Sister Nafisa, I know you're talking about the different resources that are available, but was there one particular resource that really helped you out the most, Sister Nafisa? Was there something that really, aside from the Islamic Relief advertisement, was there something that really helped you narrow in and say, yeah, that's it. That really helped me out.
I would say my friend circle, my friends, the friends that I have, the initiatives that they find, they send me links. They're like, "Oh, this event is happening," or "Look into this nonprofit." It's personally, it's my friends. It's different for everyone else, but yeah, that would be my answer.
All right, so your inner circle is one thing. All right,
Mhm.
let's go, brother Fatah. Let's see if we can get this thing. Marshall, we're gonna hit this home run. Are you good? Are you there, brother Fatah?
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
in.
I'm here.
All right, awesome. Okay, let's see if we can get through this. Okay, go ahead, take it away.
Yeah, so I mean, in terms of our abilities, like we all have various capabilities, and at the end of the day, at the end of our lives, kind of the thing that we'll be asked about is our effort. Did we put in the effort, right? And so it's not necessarily about the outcome. It's not about how much impact you can have, but it's about doing what is within your means. And within your means might be you just going to your local community center or going to your local mosque and just helping to clean up, right? Whether it's making things cleanly, right? And cleanliness itself is a part of the sunnah, right? And so it's starting small. It's
Uh,
doing whatever is in your means. Maybe you are someone who can you hear me?
yeah, Marshall, that's amazing. I think I'll piggyback off the fact that Marshall he mentioned, Fatah, amazing point where it's like it's not about the result, it's more about the effort. Mashallah, the effort is what's key here. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala what looks at the effort, not necessarily the result. I mean, the numbers are great. You want to aim high, you want to raise as much money as possible so you can help people as much as possible. But at the end of the day, it's not about counting all the figures and saying, oh, we didn't reach a million, we didn't reach 2 million, didn't reach 50 million, didn't reach 100 million, didn't reach a billion. Um, then where all our efforts are gone or downhill. It's about the effort, not about the result. So that's amazing, brother Fatah. Jazakallah khairan for that insight. That was the biggest. Oh, we have to kind of pull some of these nuggets as we're getting through it. But man, but I gotta tell you, I mean, I hate to say this, but all good things must come to an end. Especially with this show has been amazing talking about humanitarian work, and especially it's so intertwined with this deen. I think, and it's in the DNA of every Muslim to give in some capacity, whether it's financially, whether it's through a good word, whether it's through positive impact in some way, shape, or form. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be those beacons of light to showcase and highlight that humanitarian work as much as possible, no matter what scales that we're at. But let's take it to let's go, brother Fatah. If I can kindly ask, maybe a one-liner in this case, or a two-liner, or something, a short gem of wisdom if someone looking at this show, let's say he's a brother, he's looking at this and he's like, man, brother Fatah, it's amazing, man. You broke out of your shell as a high school student and you were carrying a bucket and you started off from the ground, you know what I mean? Like, and you built your way up to the top, mashallah, as a national director. What advice would you have for me? What advice would you have to get involved with humanitarian work? Where do I start? I'm getting all riled up. I'm ready to get on that path, but where do I begin? What advice would you give to that person?
I would say just start, right? Just say Bismillah and just go into it, right? Whether it's starting volunteering with your local club on campus, whether it's your local community center, your masajid, there's so much that you can do. And it's about starting, it's about action, right? There are people who will sit on the sideline and watch everything happen, watch all these good deeds go to other people, watch all these other people around them doing good deeds, whether it's helping the homeless in their community, whether it's raising funds to build a well, whether it's raising funds to build a school, and so on and so forth. And there will be people who are movers, who are shakers, who are actually doing the work. There'll be people who look at the past and say, subhanallah, look how far we've come, right? With Charity Week, look how far we've come. Look at all the funds that we've raised. But then there'll be people who say, look where we can go. When we're united, look at what we can do. And there's so much more that we can still do. There's so many more people that still need our help, and we can still help them. And lastly, there are people that tell us, there are people that say, well, we're just youth. What can we
That's amazing, man. What can we do?
We
You know,
can't
and then
really change
yeah,
anything. We can't change the world. What are, and to those people, I would say, and as our director, our founder said, there are people who say, what can we do? We can't do anything. We're just youth. But then there are people who say, like us, we would respond and say, we've already started. SubhanAllah, we've already started, and we've raised millions of pounds. We've united 7 countries, hundreds of Muslims youth across the world, from primary school all the way to university, families all around the world. And in the year of COVID, if there's any year to give you hope, it's this year, where youth across the world, in the year of a pandemic, we were able to raise more funds than we've ever raised in the past. And whether you volunteer with Charity Week, and I'd implore you to go on charityweek.com and show your interest, or any other organization, it's about starting small. It's about starting and just saying Bismillah and just diving into it. And you'll see the barakah that comes from it, and the amazing friends, as Nafisa said earlier, the amazing friends and connections that you'll be able to make along the way.
Look at that. So you just start. There's 2 simple words, just start, hop on board, do what you got to do, just showcase the effort as much as possible, put in the effort, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you do your best, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take care of the rest. That's very encouraging, and especially with the fact that it's a COVID, the year of COVID, that the fact that you raised more, or Charity Week has raised more money than any other time, like that's mind blowing. I don't know what to say. That's like saying, I guess in conceivable memory, like where the Great Depression is typically known as the time where things were really bad, businesses shut down, morale was that, but then there are other businesses that started thriving, right? You got Walt Disney that was started in the Great Depression. So not trying to compare apples to oranges. All I'm saying is that even in spite of these negative times, in spite of this, you would think that people would hold on to their money more than ever, that you actually got, mashallah, more hope than ever. So that's amazing. That's a huge thing. Like, especially that's, if there was one thing to take away from 2020, especially in the history of Charity Week, this is definitely one for the books. I'm sure it is. So now, Sister Nafisa, let me ask you this. Let's do the curtain call, suppose. Let's say we got a sister here who's watching the show. She's looking at you and she's saying, wow, I mean, that's amazing. Your story of being involved with Charity Week, involved with humanitarian work, the fact that you can go to different places around the world and you still have that bond, you feel that bond. What can I do? What are some things that are out there that, to make this journey possible? How can I start? Echoing what Brother Fatah saying, maybe you could build on it. Or what advice would you give to someone who, let's just say, is looking to humanitarian work? Does it take a special kind of person to do this? What if you could give some parting words of wisdom, what would it be?
So just to come off of what Brother Fatah said, just start. Tomorrow's not promised to us. I can go to sleep tonight and I wouldn't wake up tomorrow morning. I can wake up in the morning and I wouldn't see afternoon. And just start. Keep that intention in your head. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for help. Like tell him why you want to do it. Have that personal conversation with him and say, I want to do good in this world, or I want to help at least one orphan. I want to help at least one poor family. Help me get there. And then you'll see what happens after that. Pray for it. I'm gonna say I'm 27 years old right now, and yes, I am young compared to a lot of people. But I think back and I look at high school kids. I look at kids younger than me in their early 20s, and I see the amazing things that they're doing with their life. And now that I think back at it, I'm thinking, why didn't I start earlier? Why was I such a shy person? Why did I listen to all these negative thoughts? Why didn't I just push and do it? So just don't think about anything else, and think about that your life is not guaranteed. You're not guaranteed the next minute. Just work towards it. Work towards yourself. Work towards pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and just uniting with others, especially with Charity Week, for example. 7 countries across the world, youth. Not once have we looked at, which countries we come from. Not once have we looked at, the different sect that Islam is divided to. What we looked at is our end goal, which is to unite all Muslims across the world. And just think about why. Why are we doing this? We're doing this to unite together. We're doing this to help the orphans, and keep that in mind. Whenever you're going towards a goal, think about why. Why do you want to accomplish this? Why do you want to do this? Write it down on paper, keep it in front of you, write it down on your phone. And when you feel that high go away, and think, oh, it's so much work, I'm tired of this, maybe I'll start it tomorrow. Go back to your why. Go back to having this conversation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and realize why you're doing this, and all the feelings will come back to you. So just start. That would be my advice.
So stay grounded and keep your eye on the prize at all times. Mashallah, that's amazing to hear. That's superb, mashallah, both of you. Thank you so much, Sister Nafesa, Brother Fatah, for your time and for your willingness to share some insight about humanitarian work. This is, again, only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can reward your efforts, and I'm sure there's so many things behind the scenes people don't know about. People see the end, people see the dollar signs, people see the 1.4 million pounds, but they don't see the $1.4 million or pounds worth of effort that went behind that, right? Not just you two, but all the countless youth that are involved in this, and all across the world. So kudos to the whole Charity Week organization, Islamic Relief, everyone who's involved to try to make this world a better place, one day at a time, one playground at a time, one well at a time, one care package at a time, one orphan at a time. Mashallah, it's amazing to see all the different smiles that you're able to put on your face. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reunite all of us with those same smiles, if not more. So thank you both, Sister Nafesa and Brother Fatah, for stopping by. Truly, truly appreciate all the amazing work that you do. And so I just want to close off here, folks. Let's see, 101 right now. With humanitarian work, it ain't easy. I'd be hard pressed to tell you that with humanity, I wish I could sugarcoat it and say that this is the greatest thing on the planet, and that it's so easy to do, and that everything will just fall into your lap. It's not that way. It's not. It's tough. It's very difficult. But is it worth it? Absolutely. And again, we're going back to the whole idea of DNA, of having this nature of giving. I always like to go back to this one quote that just keeps me personally grounded, and that we always want to follow and try to make sure that we keep ourselves steady. You see, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives and forgives. Human beings, we get, and forget. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among those who are givers, not just takers. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us those who are able to donate our time, donate our efforts, donate our youth in a way, like in service of this deen. When we keep giving, instead of keep getting, we get grounded. And as they say, you only get back what you give. You give your heart, you give your sincerity, you give your time. Maybe people don't appreciate it. Maybe people won't see the results. Maybe you're not going to get all the things that you are looking for, but at the end of the day, know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching. Know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never forgets, and everything is recorded for you. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward and accept all our efforts. And for anyone doing humanitarian work in whatever capacity it is, whether you're on the ground, whether you're donating, whether you're the one that's writing the script for the poster, whether you're the one that's video making to advertise, for the benefit, whatever capacity you're in, at the end of the day, whether you're the one who's counting the actual funds received, or whatever capacity you're in, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept in all the sincere efforts, because there's no shortage of that. That's always needed. And so with thank you all so much for tuning in. Muslim Network TV. This is Canada Today Youth Edition, and it's on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is your brother, Muhammad Maxwell Hassan, signing out. Stay safe, stay strong, and stay proud to be Muslims. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.